Alright, we're on. No kidding. I'm good spraying so early know it. Alright.
So what I do, about 5 chapters or something?
Yeah, more than that.
Really?
Well, 21 to 32.
Wow.
So, 11.
I was reading.
You was reading. We needed to. We was lagging behind.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're at. Song of
32?
Yeah, song.
Okay. Are you sticking around? Are you taking off?
Oh, I'm sticking.
Alright. Some other guys will be here about, well, midnight, and then another one's about 2, so we got a ways to go.
That's fine.
Alright.
You get tired, I'll do it again.
Okay. Here we go. I'm going to get loud. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Give ear, O ye heavens, I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, and as the small rain upon the tender herb, as the showers upon the grass, because I will publish the name of the Lord. Ascribe ye greatness unto our God. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. A God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves, their spot is not in the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus requite the Lord? O foolish people and unwise, is not he thy father that hath bought thee? Hath he not made thee and established thee? Remember the days of old. Remember, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about, he instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye, as an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead them, and there was no strange God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. He made him to suck honey out of the rock, and out of the oil out of the flinty rock, butter of kine, and milk of sheep, and fat of lambs, with rams the breed of Bashan, and goats, and the fat of kidneys of wheat. And thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. But Jeshurun was waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. He forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that they came newly up, of whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. When the Lord saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. And he said, I will hide my face from them, and I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those who are not a people. I will provoke them to an anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn in the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap up mischiefs upon them. I will spin mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with a hunger, and devoured with a burning heat, and with a bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of the beast upon them, with the poise of serpents of dust. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them into the corners. I would make them the remembrance to them that would cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this. that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and their fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are the grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and their cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, and sealed up among my treasures? To me belongs vengeance and recompense.
Amen.
Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is in hand, and things shall come upon them. Make haste. For the Lord shall judge his people, and repent himself for his servants, when he sees that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, Where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices, and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you, and be your protection. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver you out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven, and I say, I live forever. For if I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, that the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. And Moses came and spake all the words of his song in the ears of the people, he and Hoshea the son of Nun. And Moses made an end of speaking all these words to all Israel, and he said unto them, Set your hearts unto all the world which I testify among you this day, which ye shall command your children to observe to do, in all the words of this law. For it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing ye shall prolong your days in the land, whether ye go over to Jordan to possess it. And the Lord spake unto Moses that selfsame day, saying, Get thee up into the mountain Abarim, unto the Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and lay the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. And die in that mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered up unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in the mount Horah, and was gathered unto his people, because you trespassed against me among my children of Israel, at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but ye shall not go in thither, into the land which I give unto the children of Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 33. Moses blessed the tribes. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, The Lord came from Sinai, and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. And his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved his people, and all his saints are in thy hand. And they sat down at thy feet, every one shall receive thy words. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. And he was a king in Yeshurun, when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. This is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him. Let him be a help from him, from his enemies. And of Levi he said, Let thy Thummim and Urim be with the Holy One, whom thou didst prove as Messiah, with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah, whom he said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, then the whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. Bless, Lord, his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, and they that rise not again. And of Benjamin he said, The beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him. And the Lord shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, Blessed of the Lord be his hand, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew, for the deep that coucheth beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth and the fullness thereof, for the goodwill of him that dwells in the bush. Let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of his head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like firstlings of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of the unicorns. And with him he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the 10,000s of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance of the seas, and of the treasures hidden in the sand. And of Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwells as a lion. He teareth the arm with the crown of the head. He provided the first part for himself, because there in a portion of the lawgiver he was seated. And he came with the heads of the people, and he executed the justice of the Lord and his judgments with Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion whelp, and he shall leap from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor, and full of blessings of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Let Asher be blessed with the children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren. Let him dip his foot in oil. Thy shoes shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be.
Amen.
There is none like unto God of Yeshurun, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and in the excellency on the sky. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He shall thrust out the enemy from before thee. He shall say, Destroy them. Israel shall dwell in the safety alone, and the fountain of Jacob shall be upon a land of corn and of wine. And also his heavens shall drop down dew. Happy art thou, O Israel. Who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help? Who is the sword of thy excellency? And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee. Thou shalt tread upon their high places. Deuteronomy chapter 34, the death of Moses. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, and the top of Pisgah that is over against Jericho. The Lord showed him all the land of Gilead, and unto Dan, and of all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, and the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of the palm trees, unto Zoar. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I sware unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor. But no man knows of this sepulchre to this day. When Moses was 120 years old when he died, his eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping for Moses were ended. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and wonders which the Lord did send him into the land, into Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and all to his land, and all that mighty hand, and all the great terror which Moses showed in the sight of all Israel. Hold on a minute and I'll preach. The book of Joshua, chapter 1. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, Thou and all this people go into the land which I give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I have given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, and all the land of the Hittites, unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not be any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Be strong and of good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that thou may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the host, and command the people, saying, Prepare ye victuals, for within 3 days ye shall pass over the Jordan, to go into to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth to you to possess it. And to the Reubenites and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh spake Joshua, saying, Remember the word which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, saying, The Lord your God has given you rest, and has given you this land. Your wives and your little ones and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on the side of the Jordan, but you shall pass before your brethren armed, and all the mighty men of valor will help them. Until the Lord give your brethren rest, and he hath given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God giveth them, then ye shall return into the land of your possession, and enjoy it, which Moses the Lord's servant gave you on this side of the Jordan toward the sunrising. And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us we will do, and whatsoever thou sendest us we will go. According as we had hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Unto the Lord God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, he will not hearken unto him the words in all that thou commandest him, and he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. Joshua chapter 2. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came to the harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said, There came men unto me, but I was not whence they were. And I came to pass about the time of shutting the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whether the men went, I wot not. Pursued after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. As soon as they which pursued after them were gone, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, where you utterly destroyed them. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did they remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token. And that you will save alive my father, and my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, Our life for yours. And if you utter not this our business, it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. She said unto them, Get you to the mountains, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there, 3 days until the pursuers be returned, and afterwards may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, and which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and my mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of this door of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his own head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be in our head, if any hand be upon him. And if thou utter this our business, then we'll be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us swear. And she said, According to your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came into the mountains and abode there 3 days until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain and passed over and came to Joshua the son of Nun and told him all the things that befell them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord hath delivered unto our hands all the land, for even the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. Lord Rick. More people watching us.
All good.
All good. Hallelujah. All right. Joshua chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim, and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host. And they commanded the people, saying, When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that you may not know the way by which you must go, for ye have not passed this way heretofore. And Joshua said unto the people, Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will wander among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day I will begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know thee, that I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When ye are come to the brink of the water of the Jordan, ye shall stand still in the Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, Come hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God. Joshua said, Hereby ye shall know that the living God is among you, that he will without fail drive up from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passed over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the 12 tribes of Israel, out of every tribe of man, and it shall come to pass as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord over all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, that the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon as a heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents and passed over Jordan, the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, as they bear the ark, were coming to the Jordan, the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overflows all its banks at the time of the harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap, very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zeratan. And those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed, and they were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground, until all the people were passed clean over the Jordan. Joshua chapter 4. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe of man, and command ye them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and you shall carry them over with you. and leave them in the lodging place where you shall lodge this night. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel out of every tribe of man. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take ye up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that you may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye by these stones? Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. And these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of the Jordan, as the Lord spoke unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them into the place where they lodged, and they laid them down there. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests which bear the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there unto this day. For the priests which bear the ark stood in the midst of the Jordan, until everything was finished that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hasted and passed over. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before the children of Israel, as Moses had spake unto them. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. On that night the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, that they feared him, and they feared Moses, and all the days of his life. And the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Command ye the priests that bear up the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of Jordan. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come ye up out of the Jordan. And it came to pass, when the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord were come up out of the midst of the Jordan, and the soles of the priests' feet were lifted up unto dry land, that the waters of the Jordan returned into their place, and flowed over all its banks, as they had did before. And the people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and then camped in Gilgal at the east border unto Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean these stones? Then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan from before you, until you were passed over, as the Lord your God did the Red Sea, which he dried up from before us until we were gone over. That all the people of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty, and ye might fear the Lord your God forever.
Amen.
Whew. One of my favorite books. It's awesome, man. It's got stuff in it. It's just good. Joshua chapter 5. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites were on the side of the Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was there spirit in them any more, because of the children of Israel. At the time the Lord said unto Joshua, Make these sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise. All the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of the war, died in the wilderness by the way, after they came out of Egypt. Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not been circumcised. So the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war which came out of Egypt were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord sware that he would not show them the land which the Lord sware unto their fathers, that he would give us the land that flows with milk and honey. And the children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all of the people, that they abode in their places in the camp until they were whole. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off of you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month, at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow, after the Passover, unleavened cakes, and parched corn on the selfsame day. And the manna ceased on the morrow, after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him, with a sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him, and said, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord I am now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose the shoe from off thy foot, for the place where thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Joshua chapter 6. Now Jericho was straitly shut up, because the children of Israel, none went out, and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given thee thine hand unto Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go about the city once. And thou shalt do this 6 days. And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, Pass on the compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests, bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns, passed on before the Lord. And they blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew the trumpets, and the rearward came with the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout. Then ye shall shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once. And they came up to the camp, and they lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests looked up to the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord, went on continually, and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went before them, but the rearward came after on the ark of the Lord. And the priests going on and blew with the trumpets. And the 2nd day they compassed the city once, and returned into the camp. So they did this 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day, that they rose early in the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpet, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all they that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, and she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed, when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed, and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord, and they shall come to the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the shout of the trumpet, the people shouted with a great shout, and the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, bring out thence the woman and all she hath, and she sware unto her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all she had, and they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, although it was therein. Only the silver, and the gold, and the vessels of brass, and of iron, they put in the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelt in Israel, even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Joshua adjourned them at the time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord, that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof, and his firstborn, and his youngest son, so he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame noised throughout all the country. Joshua chapter 7. The children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel, and spoke unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. For make not all the people to labor there, but they are but few. So they went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote them about 36 men, but they chased from them the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down, wherefore the hearts of the people melted, and became as water. And Joshua rent his clothes, and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord, until the eventide, and he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, O God! Alas, O Lord God! Wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan, to deliver us unto the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to God we had been content to dwell on the other side of the Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say when Israel turns their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall environ us around, and cut off our name from the earth. What wilt thou do unto thy great name? And the Lord said unto Joshua, Get thee up, wherefore liest thou upon thy face? Israel hath sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and they have also stolen, and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you any more, except you destroy the accursed thing from among you. Up, sanctify your people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus says the Lord God of Israel, There is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Israel. Thou cannot stand before thine enemies, until they take away the accursed thing from among you. In the morning, therefore, ye shall be brought, according to your tribes. It shall be that the tribe which the Lord taketh shall come according to the families thereof. And the family which the Lord shall take shall come by the households, and the household which the Lord shall take shall come by man, by man. And it shall be that he is taken with the accursed thing, and shall be burnt with fire, he and all he hath, because he hath transgressed the covenant of the Lord, because he has wrought folly in Israel. So Joshua rose up early in the morning, and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zorites, and he brought the family of the Zorites man by man. And Zabdi was taken, and he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. Joshua said unto Achan, My son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him. Tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils of goodly Babylonian garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold, and 50 shekels weight, and I coveted them, I took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth, in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran into the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and they brought them unto Joshua and to all the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them into the valley of Achor. Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and they burned him with fire, after they had stoned him with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. How you doing?
Doing fine, sir. Fine.
Joshua chapter 8. The Lord said unto Joshua, Fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and arise, go up unto Ai, and see, I have given thee thy hand to the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. Thou shalt do to Ai and her king, as thou didst unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof thou shalt take for a prey unto yourselves. Lay thee an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua arose and all the people of war to go up against Ai. And Joshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor, and set them by the night. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, ye shall lie in wait against the city, even behind the city. Go not very far from the city, but be ye all ready. I and all the people that are with me will approach into the city, and it shall come to pass, when they come out against us, as at the first, we will flee before them. For they will come out after us, till we have drawn them from the city, for they say, They flee before us as the first. Therefore we will flee before them. Then ye shall rise from the ambush, and seize upon that city, for the Lord your God will deliver it unto your hand. And it shall be, when ye have taken the city, that ye shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the Lord ye shall do it. See, I have commanded you. Joshua therefore sent them forth, and they went to lie in ambush, and abode between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people. Joshua rose up early in the morning, and numbered the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people to Ai. And all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up, and they drew nigh, and came before the city, and pitched on the north side of Ai, now where there was a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai on the west side of the city. When they had set on the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, their liers in wait on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, they hasted, and rose up early. And the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people at a time appointed before the plain. But he wist not there were liers in ambush against him behind the city. And Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people that were in Ai were called together to pursue after them. And they pursued after Joshua, and drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel that went not out after Israel. And they left the city open, and pursued after Israel. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Stretch out the spear that is in thy hand toward Ai, for I will give it to thine hand. Joshua stretched out a spear that he had in his hand toward the city, and the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and they ran as quickly as he had stretched out his hand. And they entered the city, and took it, and hastened, and set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven. And they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled into the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Joshua and all of Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and the smoke of the city ascended, and they turned again, and slew the man of Ai, and the other issued out of the city against them. So they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them, so that they let none of them remain or escape. And the king of Ai they took alive, and brought him to Joshua. And it came to pass, when Israel had made an end of slaying all the inhabitants of Ai in the field in the wilderness, wherein they chased them, when they were all fallen on the edge of the sword, until they were consumed, that all the Israelites returned unto Ai, and smote it with the edge of the sword. And so it was, that all that fell were that day, both of men and women, were 12,000, even all the men of Ai. For Joshua drew not his hand back, wherewith he stretched out the spear, until he had utterly destroyed all the inhabitants of Ai. Only the cattle and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according to the word of the Lord which he commanded Joshua. Joshua burnt Ai and made it a heap forever, even a desolation unto this day. And the king of Ai he hanged on a tree until eventide. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree, and cast it at the entering of the great gate of the city, and raised thereon a great heap of stones that remain to this day. Then Joshua built an altar unto the Lord God of Israel in Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man had lifted up any iron, and they offered thereon burnt offerings unto the Lord, and sacrificed peace offerings. He wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. Goodness.
Children of Israel.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. And he wrote upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark, and on that side before the priests, the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well as the stranger, as he that was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the law, and the blessings and the cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the law. There was not a word of all that Moses had commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversing among them. Mercy.
Here, you may read some more.
You want to read a couple?
Yeah. Where we at?
Well, I just started chapter 9 then.
Chapter 9. Hey. Get my glasses on. Can't see it now. 11:45. The sea of the Gibeonites. And it came to pass when all the kings which were on the side of Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, and all the coasts of the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work wildly, and went and made it as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles, old and rent,